In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to configure DHCP snooping. So the purpose of DHCP snooping is to prevent rogue DHCP servers from offering IP address to a host. So in this example, I've got a DHCP server, and it's configured to send DHCP IP addresses based on DHCP to host 1 and host 2. So host 1 and host 2 are configured currently to request an IP address from this DHCP server. So these two hosts, they're in VLAN 10. They're connected to switch 1. So all the interfaces in switch 1 are currently configured for VLAN 10. And over at switch 2, there's VLAN 11, and that's the DHCP server VLAN, and it's connected to switch 2. And so all switch interfaces are also in VLAN 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with switch 1 and show you how to enable DHCP snooping. The first thing I'm going to do is just sign on. And so the first thing I want to do is enable DHCP snooping globally. That's just with this command, DHCP snooping. Then I want to enable it on specific VLANs, or select VLANs. So I'm going to select VLAN 1 and 10. 1 is the management VLAN, and 10 is the VLAN where the hosts are located. So once I do that, that enables it. But now I have to go to an interface and select one or more trusted interfaces. So in this example, I've got two hosts, and the host interfaces are already trusted. So what I need to do is enable DHCP trusted interface on this uplink to the router. So I'm going to do that now. Interface FA03. And I'm going to go IP DHCP snooping trust. And that enables it. The other thing I want to do is I want to do rate limiting. And that's to prevent it protects from flooding DHCP packets. So it'll just use 40, for example, 40 packets per second. And that's recommended by Cisco as well. So that's configured there. Then I'm going to go to switch 2 and do the same thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is enable DHCP snooping globally. Then I'm going to do it for the VLANs. In this case, I have to do it for 1 and 11. And now what I'm going to do is, because this is where the DHCP server is connected, I have to enable trust interfaces for both interfaces. For the one that's connected to DHCP server, that's 01, and 02 because it's connected to router 1. So I'm going to do that right now. I can do a range of addresses here because it's 0, 1, and 2, just to make it a little easier. So I'll go interface range FA0, 1, and 2. And in this example, I'm going to do the same trust command. So they're trusted for DHCP packets now. And at that point, the VLANs are done, and that's done. And I can also do rate limiting as well. So we'll just do limit rate. And just 40 is what Cisco recommends, 40 packets per second. The next thing I need to do is set up a DHCP relay. Because this server is on a different VLAN or subnet, I need to set up router 1, and that's the inside interface is a relay to relay the DHCP packets when the request is made for an IP address. So what I'm going to do is go interface FA00. I'll type a helper address. You can do the same command on an SVI on a layer 3 switch or on router interface. And then the interface, and the address I'm going to use is the address of the DHCP server, and that's 2.1. So that's configured. So this is 2.1 here. And that should conclude the configuration. Now what I'm going to do is make sure the addresses have been updated here on host 1 and host 2. Make sure they've got an address. There's 169 is an APA address, so it's just a local subnet. It's the kind of address you get when it's waiting for a DHCP address from a DHCP server. So I'm going to click fast forward, say a few times here, just to make sure it's just so it converges and makes the request. And there it is there. Now it's 1.2 there and 1.1 there. So that's in VLAN 10. So that's all updated, and I can go over and just ping this server. Just a standard sort of thing. They've already got the address and snooping is enabled. There's the replies. So I'm on host 1 there, it's getting replies, and host 2 I'll do the same thing. And there it is. Another thing to do is go to switch 2, for example, and I can do show IP DHCP snooping. And in this example here, what I've got is it does say it's enabled and where it's enabled and what VLANs. Option 82 is enabled, and 82 is not something you have to concern yourself with unless you're using iOS DHCP. There's a rate limiting. So it's all working. It did get the address, the IP address, and that concludes DHCP snooping.